It was the day of our Lord, the 11th of February 2021. Former Blue Peter presenter Anthea Turner, best known for getting exploded by a motorbike and having to cancel her tour due to selling only 2 tickets, hatched a plan to springboard herself back into relevancy. Sup nerds, I'm CuppaJoey, and today we're going to be talking about the fatphobic and ableist tweets of Anthea Turner. It all began when Anthea Turner herself decided to tweet out this. Here we have somebody who isn't wearing a mask looking disparagingly upon somebody who is fat, in a mobility scooter and clutching McDonald's. Through their mask, this person says,
"Put a mask on, you're putting my health at risk."
Of course, the joke therein being, why are you concerned about getting COVID? You clearly never cared about your health before. Anthea decided to tweet this out with "go for it," showing that she echoes the sentiments within. Of course, it is worth noting here that, she didn't draw this. It was Paul, who, while just as bigoted, at least has some artistic talent, unlike Anthea. Being a fat fuck myself, I decided to take a screenshot of this tweet so that I could air concerns on my own Twitter. However, before I could screenshot some of them, she actually deleted the tweets, so excuse the sudden shift between Twitter dark mode and light mode. After posting this bigoted cartoon, she then goes on to say, "I'm incensed by the selfish attitudes of people who can't see we actually are all in this together, and willful destruction has an impact on us all. Especially those with other illnesses pushed down the line and charities who are missing out on funding. We have to take responsibility." Of course, because everybody knows that people with other illnesses are pushed down the line to make way for fatty. Child with leukemia? Pfft, not on my watch. I'm a fat guy and I've got an ingrowing toenail. And of course, just to make sure that nobody actually misunderstands and thinks that she's advocating for mask wearing as opposed to against fat people. Anthea then reiterates, "Sadly, those of us who have genuinely tried to protect the NHS by looking after our bodies are paying the terrible price for those who have chosen lazy lifestyle choices." Oh, Anthea, as a fat man, may I give my humblest apologies. My lowly orc-esque shaped body must be causing a terrible, terrible strain with my, repeat prescriptions of hormone replacement therapy and, that ear infection I got 2 years ago. Yeah, I think that was the last time I needed, like, serious medical treatment, which required me to go to an audiologist, but that wasn't really to do with me being fat. Nevertheless, Anthea, please do forgive me. I do hope that me being a single fat person that has occasionally needed to use the healthcare system hasn't, made it too difficult for you to access healthcare with your, Actually, you know what, fuck you. But the thing that I find so bizarre is complaining that fat people are putting pressure on the NHS, while simultaneously advocating that people don't wear a mask and that fat people deserve to get COVID because they never cared about their health anyway? I mean, do you actually freaking hate yourself, Anthea? But not only does Anthea think that fat people deserve to get COVID, she's also blaming us for COVID. She goes on to say, "If the government put half the amount of money into health as they have in locking us up, we wouldn't be in this mess. Keep McDonald's open and close gyms, many council run and open air." Great. Let me highlight that part for you again. If the government puts half the amount of money into health, which I guess is just against fat people when she means health, because, technically controlling an infectious disease is health, but, maybe we have different definitions of that, Anthea. So, if the government put half the amount of money into health as they have in locking us up, we wouldn't be in this mess. She is essentially saying, hey, if you stopped fat people from eating so many chips, perhaps COVID wouldn't be a thing. Which, I mean, that's just not how it works. That's just not how infectious diseases spread. They spread when people move around, which is why we're being kept indoors. Not because fatty bum bum likes cake. Besides, it's slightly rich to complain that too much money is going into fast food from somebody who had their own wedding sponsored by Cadbury Snowflake, including a magazine shoot. Now, Anthea, you do you. If you enjoyed that at your wedding, then that's fine enough. But you were paid to have your wedding sponsored by Cadbury Snowflake, who gave away a bar with every magazine. So I think you can get off your high horse with that one, alright? You can't tell us to nom on a chocolate bar and then be pissed off when we actually do it. Now, if you're listening to this and you're not fat, then you may not actually understand the harm that tweets like Anthea's actually do. People are still rolling their eyes at the idea of fat phobia being a thing. Of course we should be against fat people. It's a terrible, disgusting thing to be. Look at this cartoon. This person is so fat that they can't even walk anymore. How can we glorify a lifestyle like that? Now, besides from the fact that we're quite literally being used as a scapegoat to COVID-19, so that people don't have to wear a mask, and therefore spread COVID-19, which, you know, fucking well done. Slow clap on that one. Apart from that, fat shaming and fat phobia can have very negative impacts on the lives of fat people, and I'm not just talking about poor self-image. I myself have been put in hospital at least 3 times because people thought that it would be funny to beat up the fat kid, not realising that it could actually do harm. My ear infection I mentioned earlier? I actually had to go 3 times to get the correct antibiotics because the nurse didn't take my pain seriously. When I said it was practically excruciating and that I couldn't sleep, she just put it down to me having a weak mentality, as all fat people do clearly. Which, incidentally, I actually now find it very difficult to judge my pain because of that assumption being put on me. And even had a doctor tell me when I was 14 years old that I should stop eating completely when I went in to have a verruca removed. This may sound absolutely ridiculous to anybody that isn't fat, but if you are fat and listening to this, I bet that you have a few stories to tell exactly like this. The Twitter user Missy Diabolical, who speaks openly about her various disabilities and how they affect her life, said the following. Firstly, fuck fat shaming, full stop. As for me personally, it drives me extra batty when people assume I'm disabled and use mobility aids because I'm fat. When in fact, I'm fat because I'm disabled and use mobility aids. People deliberately choose not to see it that way though. Easier to blame my disabilities on my choices, otherwise they might have to stop and think for a minute and realise it could happen to them too, or address their rampant ableism. Twitter user Anguisset89 said, "Shit like this is why I just don't leave my house instead of using any mobility device. I'm morbidly obese, but on top of that my whole body hurts constantly and I can't walk or stand for more than 3 minutes before I'm crying. But staying home and never going to the store or the park or the movies or out with friends is better than using a cane or a walker or a wheelchair because I know that this is what people see. Someone who is too fat and lazy to walk on their own." And this is the harm of ableism and fat shaming when they are combined. And it does also increase the risk of violence when you consider the fact that everybody is getting frustrated because they're locked inside. If you then blame that on fat people, you're kind of giving them a reason to say, this is the reason that you're the ones that ruined my life, which is kind of scary actually. Besides, if we want to have a look at why people aren't eating healthy enough, then you really shouldn't be looking at lifestyle choices. You can get a burger and chips from the 99p menu at McDonald's, so that means that you can get a full meal for less than £2. I went to the greengrocers yesterday to pick up some vegetables for 2 lots of meals for my family, as well as some fruit as a snack, and that came to £12 overall. Yeah, fat people actually do buy vegetables, Anthea. It's shocking, I know. I'll take a picture next time I'm there. The part that I find the worst about all of this though is that Anthea Turner is using her hatred of fat people to promote an anti-mask mentality. No, Anthea, fat people are the reason that you're being kept inside. You're being kept inside to stop an infectious disease. And if you go out without a mask and promote that other people go out without masks, then you're gonna have to stay inside longer. COVID still has a high death toll in the UK due to things like schools still being open. Not because I'm sitting here with a pick and mix. And to try and blame me rather than take responsibility is quite shocking. So as I mentioned earlier, Anthea actually deleted the tweets after she got the backlash. She then tried to backtrack with, "Totally apologies that the cartoon is clumsy. I'll take the rollicking on the chin, but this was never directed at people clinically ill who need our support. My passion is sincere, though COVID has to give us a bloody big health wake-up call. We'd be nuts not to try and fix it." Really? Really, Anthea? That's your backtrack? That you're not attacking clinically ill disabled people, just disabled people that you think deserve it? Because I don't really think that that's the best take. And the sheer irony of her saying, "I'm incensed by the selfish attitudes of people who can't see that we're in all this together," while she's actively campaigning to not wear a mask, while also saying that disabled people deserve to die of COVID. I mean, Anthea, you can't complain that people are being selfish because they're fat, while you are actively putting people at risk by not wanting to wear a mask. "Goddess boxing glove kissy face," said Anthea Turner, in response to the following tweets. "I am more than happy for Professor John Edmonds to wear a face mask until the end of time if he so wishes. Or 2 masks if he prefers. Or a gimp mask if he feels that's more his kind of thing. But the rest of us won't be playing along with this madness for much longer." Ah yes, that's right. Anthea Turner called somebody a goddess because she said that a professor of epidemiology could wear a gimp mask. And of course, the person that she was calling a goddess was none other than Julia Hartley-Brewer. You know Julia Hartley-Brewer. You know, the one that said that Extinction Rebellion was a quasi-religious death cult? Who stated that the United Kingdom is a largely white country. It's not the job of people already living here to integrate, it's the job of new arrivals. Oh, you must know Julia. You know, the one who said that she didn't really see anything wrong with Enoch Powell's infamously racist Rivers of Blood speech? Who said to gay journalist Owen Jones that he probably has more in common with Daesh than he thinks after he called out a homophobic terrorist attack as being both homophobic and terrorist? That Julia Hartley-Brewer. Goddess indeed. Side note, I really love Owen Jones's work and you should really read his stuff if you get the chance. It seems that all Anthea is doing now is talking about how concerned she is about obesity while talking about how unconcerned she is about mask wearing. So her priorities are definitely sorted during this pandemic. I don't know about you folks, but I'm gonna go and get McDonald's. I hear there's an extra large Big Mac out now and I've just gotta try it. Well, that's it for this video. This one was slightly different as I literally just knocked this out in one day, so I really do hope that you folks enjoyed it. And remember, you know, the standard shiz, if you want to become part of the T-set, then all you need to do is hit that subscribe button, and if you want to help me out, then giving this video a like really does. And until then folks, I will see you all next time.